everybody. Hello, ISPP, and welcome to the ISPP award ceremony. It's always a terrific ritual for us to recognize some of our very own contributors and also some of the people in the world who we feel are very important to political psychology. We had a number of committees this year. We had representation from probably 30 countries on the various awards committees, so we really appreciate the work that they do. These are hard decisions to make about how to award, but you'll see that the awardees are very deserving works and individuals. To accommodate the various time zones, we've structured it so that we're going to begin with our longtime member, Ofer Feldman, who chaired up the Markwell Media Award, as he's done before. And so I would like to introduce Ofer Feldman to you in case you haven't gotten to meet him. He comes to us from Japan and will be presenting the Markwell Media Award.
Thank you. Members of the committee included Sonia Zmerli from Sciences Po Grenoble in France, Hernan Chaparro from University de Lima in Peru, Shaul Kimchi from Tel Chai College in Israel, Hona Miao from Nanjing University in China, Michael Kressner from City University of New York in the USA, and me from Doshisha University, Kyoto in Japan. As the recipient of the Noel Markwell Media Award of this year, we reached an unanimous decision and selected Mr. Amnon Abramovich, who is an Israeli publicist, journalist, and also political analyst and commentator of Channel 12, which is Israel's most watched commercial television channel. Now, this selection is based on two criteria. First, during a long period of time of more than 40 years in the print and the broadcast media in Israel, Abramovich made numerous contributions in covering and analyzing issues that are at the core of the ISPP, which made him the clear choice for this award. The issues that he covered include the social cultural element affecting the working of the government, activities of political leaders, including their psychological motivation and communication style, government officials' use and sometimes abuse of power in regard to human rights and democratic process, corruption of power holders, including prime ministers and the president of Israel, public opinion and voting attitudes, and media politics relationship. By reporting and interpreting related news items during more than 4 decades in various media channels, Mr. Abramovich's journalistic contribution is of a different magnitude. He is a particularly noteworthy and relevant figure in the Israeli media landscape. He was able to increase public awareness to almost every aspect of political behavior and attitudes at the individual and the collective levels in Israel. And I'm referring here to domestic and foreign policymaking, leadership motivation and the rhetorical strategies, individual rights, equality, freedom of expression, public opinion and choice, and social movement and protest, all which are at the core, at the center of political psychology. There is second criteria, and the second criteria is that Abramovich is also a symbol of journalist who withstands political and psychological pressure, and this is one of the reasons for this award. Let me say that through his exposure of numerous political misconducts and bribery cases of political leaders, including prime ministers, and his critical stances over policy decision-making in the government, he has been a thorn in the side of Israeli politicians for many years. Because of this, Mr. Abramovich has come in the last few years, especially during the last administration, the recent administration of former Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, he came under pressure from politicians and public figures reflected in verbal attacks and threats to his life. He suffered numerous cases of personal attacks. Now, Many of these attacks not even related directly to his journalistic work, but to his appearance, if I may say, as he was disfigured from burns he suffered when he was seriously injured during the 1973 Yom Kippur War, and he had to go since then through close to 60 operations. Now, for your information, following his activities during the war, he is a decorated war hero. But this fact does not discourage supporters of certain political parties and political activists to attack him. The personal attacks on him included aggressive, abusive, intimidating, threatening discourse of physical harm and threat to his life, which is also expressed in the attacks in places he attended and demanded a police rescue. Now, all these political and psychological pressure, which fortunately don't affect Abramovich's work, also indicate he deserves the ISPP Noel Markwell Award this year. And on behalf of the award committee and the International Society of Political Psychology, I have the pleasure to present this year the Noel Markwell Media Award to Mr. Amnon Abramovich of Israel. Thank you. Amnon, would you like to say something?
Thank you very much. Dear members of the ISPP organization and Mr. Ofer Feldman, you have my deepest gratitude for this award. But let me be honest with you and tell you what I've told Mr. Feldman when he approached me regarding the event. First, I am a shy man and feel uneasy, embarrassed even, to receive awards. Second, I don't feel that I deserve an award. For to me, journalism is more than just profession, it is a vocation. And pursuing the vocation is it itself the real prize. Journalists, in my opinion, are lucky professionals because they are investigators and writers and doers and even poets as well. Few words about myself. I've worked as a journalist for more than 40 years now, whether in the printed press, television, or online. Over the last couple of decades, I've been covering for Channel 12, Israel's leading television channel, the major issue of society: foreign policy, security affairs, politics, legislation, judicial system, governance, and corruption. The Israeli media is energetic, vibrant, filled with various opinions and disagreements, just like the Israeli public itself. But it's a free press, direct and fearless, although there are those who seek and even make efforts to stop it. In the last few years, there have been multiple cases of journalists getting assaulted or arrested because of their opposition to the government or for defending the rule of law and the judicial system. It is unpleasant, however, it's not that terrible. It's merely a part of journalist life. We are accused of being liberals, as they called it, bleeding out liberals, leftists, and of being tendentious and even biased. As I previously said, I feel embarrassed to receive an award. And so I prefer to see myself as receiving it on behalf of many other journalists in the Israeli media. And once again, my sincere thanks to you all.
Thank you so much. And thank you to your colleagues as well. We have quite a lot of awards this morning, so with our congratulations to Mr. Abramovich, we'll go ahead with giving the Roberta Siegel Early Career Scholar Award. And Bill, if you don't mind, if you could advance slides because my mouse is frozen. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So I'm going to introduce now Iftach Lelkes, who will present the other award, which is the Roberta Siegel Early Career Scholar Paper Award. Iftach is there?
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Hi, everybody. So I had the privilege of chairing the Roberta Siegel Award Committee. We had a great committee that included Bram Sprout from the Vrije Universiteit of Brussels, Marshall A. Baquano from the University of the Philippines, and Catherine Starzik from the University of Manitoba. And I'll present two papers, awards for two papers. The best paper by a junior author alone, and then the best paper by a group of scholars, with the junior author being the first one. And for each, we had fierce competition. And these were all very fun to read, but these definitely were the ones that came out on top. So first, I'd like to award Hui Bai the Roberta Siegel Award for Best Paper written by a junior author, for his paper, When Racism and Sexism Benefit Black and Female Politicians. Politicians' ideology moderates prejudices effects more than politicians' demographic background. Hui is finishing his PhD at the University of Minnesota, and next year will be a postdoc at Stanford. The competition, as I said, was fierce for this award, but this paper was the runaway winner. Hui marshals a volume of evidence, which includes 5 experiments and roughly 40,000 people, to show that the effects of prejudice on political support is not necessarily due to the race or gender of a politician, but the politician's political ideology instead. Hence, it centers political ideology in the study of prejudice. It is also a solo authored paper by a graduate student in JPSB, which is quite an achievement. So congratulations, Hui, if you want to say anything.
Thank you very much. And it is really, really inspiring, honor to be here today among all the distinguished scholars, a lot of whom inspire my own work. And I was looking at the list of a lot of you guys I'm actually citing in my papers. So again, it's really, really honor to be here. And I would like to take this opportunity to thank scholars associated with the Center for the Study of Political Psychology at the University of Minnesota, and attendees of Dr. Federico's lab meeting and Dr. Mark Snyder's lab meeting for all their constructive learning environment that they provided. It is from these places where I learned to become the scholar I am today. And among them, I especially want to thank Dr. Christopher Federico and Dr. Eugene Borghita for their guidance as my co-advisor and my co-authors over the years. And here I want to point out that coincidentally, Dr. Chris Federico received this award in 2007. And I'm very honored to carry this tradition. And I have many more people who I would like to thank, but the list is too long to enumerate. In short, I will continue work hard in the future to advance the field of political psychology. And thank you very much again.
Great, congratulations. So I also have the distinction of awarding another prize, excuse me, this time to Ryan Chandler for his paper with Michael Gross, Sophia Backhouse, and Daphna Canetti, titled Cyber Terrorism and Public Support for Retaliation, a multi-country survey experiment. Ryan is currently a postdoc at the Blackfenek School of Government at the University of Oxford and a research fellow at Nuffield College. As with Hui's paper, this paper was also already published in a top journal, this time in political science in BJPS. Using experiments in 3 countries, Ryan finds that people do not support retaliatory military strikes for cyber crimes unless those crimes were lethal. And especially in these times, especially in the past few months, with heightened cyber warfare, the practical implications of this paper could not be more clear. And the impact that this will have on policymakers' decision-making is obvious. So congratulations, Ryan.
Thank you so much. I'm overwhelmed. Thank you, and to the whole award committee for this honor and for your overly kind words. I'm grateful to you and also to the ISPP, which is very special to me and which has contributed so much to who I am. My first academic conference was at the ISPP in Edinburgh a few years ago. And I've been trying to go back every year ever since. And I vividly remember going to the award ceremony in Edinburgh. as a new MA student at the time, and being just so in awe of all of the recipients at the scope of their research and the creativity of their methods. So the fact that I'm receiving an award myself today is just humbling and overwhelming, and such a strange experience that I'll remember. And just like Huey, receiving this award is also special for me because the exceptional team that I wrote the paper with, Michael Gross and Sophia Backhouse and Daphne Canetti, includes two of my doctoral supervisors from when I was at the University of Haifa. And one of them, just like you, my supervisor Daphne Canetti was also a past recipient of this award herself. So I understand your feeling of sentimentality that you're continuing the line. And seeing her name on the list of past recipients and the other names who are just luminaries in the field who I idolize is just such a special feeling. And if I and we can follow in their footsteps and make a contribution to the field that's even half as big as that they did, then I'll be overjoyed. So thank you again to Dr. Lelkes and to the award committee and to all of the ISPP.
Yeah, great. Congratulations. So next up, we have Pazit Ben-Nun Bloom, who is an associate professor at the Department of Political Science at the Hebrew University.
Hi, everyone. I'm happy to be here. And I would like to start by thanking our devoted committee members, Michael Quayle from University of Limerick, and Sam Pearson from University of St. Andrews, and Rishma Haji from Laurentian University. Given the impressive applications we had this year, we award this year's Best Dissertation Award to two remarkable scholars, and I will introduce them in no particular order, actually in the order that I received from you guys in ISP. So let me start with Kirill Zirkov. So the 2021 ISPP Best Dissertation Award is presented to Kirill Zirkov for his work, Immigration in Our Heads, the Political Relevance of Mental Schemas About Immigrants. Zirkov's central question is, what are the roots of the emergence and growth of the anti-immigration attitudes in the United States? He looks at why democratic citizens see immigration as economically and culturally threatening, even where there is little evidence to support such a claim. The core of Zirkov's answer is that racial resentments play a differential role for different people, different times, based on the automatic stereotypes they hold in their mind about the abstract concept of immigrant. This work, the committee found this work to be highly well written. The methodology developed here the methodology was developed in an impressive way to bring new ways of looking at a very stubborn question in the area of public opinion on immigration. And Zirkov proposed a novel theoretical explanation that is applicable to education and to policy. So congratulations, Kirill.
Thank you. And I would like to say that I am very honored to receive this award. I am grateful to Nick Valentina, my dissertation committee chair, for nominating me, and to the award committee for choosing my work out of many great dissertations, which I believe were defended in the discipline last year. And I would like to thank my dissertation committee, many other people inside and outside graduate school who were helpful to me along the way, to the University of Michigan for being such a great place with vibrant but also collegial intellectual climate, the city of Ann Arbor for being a great place to write a dissertation in. And once again, I am very grateful to the committee for choosing my work. Thank you again.
Thank you, Kirill. And I would like to present the second award winner. So the 2021 ISPP Best Dissertation Award is also presented to Laila Eisners Eisner for her work, Social Change and Perceived Social Norms and Application to Sexual Minorities in Switzerland. Eisner's dissertation examined the perception of attitudes and societal norms concerning sexual minorities and the interaction between perceived societal norms and social change processes, indicating that people misperceive others' opinions towards sexual minority issues as more intolerant than they actually were, and importantly, that this affects intentions to support social change. So as you can see, this work has important implications for policymakers and for activists in their effort to address structural inequalities. And the committee particularly appreciated the remarkable theoretical depth and the nuance in Eisner's, of this work by Eisner. There's a lot of evidence here, and this dissertation does an incredible job of bringing it all together. So congratulations, Laila.
Thank you very much. Yeah, I would like to use this opportunity to thank, of course, ISPP. Edinburgh was also my first international conference, and that was an amazing experience, and I met great people there. And I would also like to use this opportunity to thank my committee, of course, also my PhD supervisor, Dario Spini, and the other people who helped me during this process, like Christina Olsen and Tabea Hessler. And yeah, I'm really honored, and I think it's great to receive such awards, especially given that I studied both political science and social psychology, and I feel like this society is a great combination of both.
Thank you. And I would like to now invite Alina Oxendine to present the Alexander George Book Award.
Thank you, Pazit. It was an honor chairing the book awards committees, and I'll start by saying congratulations to all of the talented authors who published books relevant for political psychology during 2020, which was the year that we evaluated. The submissions were amazing, and you made our job incredibly difficult. Next, I'd like to thank the other committee members, Emre Erdogan from Istanbul Bilgi University and Alex Theodoridis from the University of Massachusetts at Amherst. Because we were so impressed by the strength of the submissions as a whole, we thought it appropriate to share the awards to widen the number of scholars recognized this year. And although incredibly different, the 4 award-winning books all deepen our understanding of existing societal divisions. They innovate with creative approaches, and they all make invaluable contributions to the subfield. So I'll start with the Alexander George Book Award, and it's being shared between 2 books, and I'll start with honoring Megan Condon and Amber Wachowski for The Economic Other, Inequality in the American Political Imagination, published by the University of Chicago Press. The book is a fascinating analysis of the psychology of social comparison and why it matters for politics. Amber and Megan, would you like to say a few words?
Thank you so much, Alina, and to Alex and Emery. Thank you so much for your time on this committee. We're very grateful and very honored to be sharing this award. Congratulations to Stephen as well. And we'd like to thank ISPP. Like so many people who've already spoken, we presented early versions of this work in Edinburgh. So we're grateful for that opportunity. And we have enjoyed all the rest of the work of the incredible people on this panel today. So thank you all.
Excellent. Thank you so much. The George Book Award also goes to Stephen Webster for his book, American Rage, How Anger Shapes Our Politics, published by Cambridge University Press. And this book impressed us because it uses innovative methods to explore the political importance of anger and the role it plays in boosting voter loyalty. Stephen, would you like to say a few words?
Thank you. I appreciate the work that the committee put in here. I'm very honored to receive this award. My congrats to Amber and Megan as well. What a great book to be sharing this with. So thank you all very much. I'm quite honored by this recognition.
Excellent, thank you. So next is the David O. Sears Book Award, and it's also being shared between two books. And I'll start by honoring Nathan Calmo for With Ballots and Bullets, Partisanship and Violence in the American Civil War, published by Cambridge University Press. This book is a creative exploration of partisan conflict using political history, and it has undeniable contemporary relevance. Nathan, would you like to say a few words?
Yes, thanks so much, Alina. Thank you to ISPP, the committee, and to Sarah Daskow for publishing the book. I'm humbled by this honor. Like a number of you, the Edinburgh conference was where one of the chapter drafts was presented. There's too many people to thank here, so I'll just refer you to the book's long acknowledgements. This award is especially meaningful to me in two ways. First, I'm thrilled to share it with LaFleur, not just for her great work, but also because we were in the same cohort in grad school. And second, David Sears is my intellectual grandfather, since he was the advisor to my advisor, Don Kinder, so that's meaningful as well. I hope that this work helps us to recognize the enormous costs that we sometimes need to be willing to bear to democratize the US against authoritarian threats from white supremacy and other forms of social dominance, and to help us see the role of partisanship in sometimes mobilizing each side of that violent conflict. I'd also like to recommend one of my favorite books from 2020, Steadfast Democrats by Cheryl Laird and Ishmael White, on Black partisanship and social influence in the US, if you haven't already seen it. Thanks so much.
Excellent, thank you, Nathan. And the Sears Book Award also goes to LaFleur Stevens-Dugan for Race to the Bottom, How Racial Appeals Work in American Politics, published by University of Chicago Press. This book impressed us in its analysis of racial distancing and its cutting-edge theoretical and methodological approaches. LaFleur, would you like to say a few words?
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much, Alina, and to the other members of the committee, and to ISPP, of course. It's really just an honor to receive the award. I am humbled as well. And just like Nathan said, I was essentially flabbergasted to get that email, but it's great to share the award with my cohort mate, and also to win an honor that is named after David Sears, who's just a pioneer in the field and has influenced my work so greatly. So I'm just very thankful. So thanks again.
Thank you, LaFleur. Congratulations to all of these impressive scholars. Next, I'd like to introduce the next presenter, John Sullivan, who will be presenting several different awards, one of which is the Mentorship Award named in his honor. John is an accomplished political psychologist, and I was incredibly lucky to have him as my own mentor and dissertation advisor while at the University of Minnesota. Take it away, John.
Thank you, and I'd just like to interject for 1 second, John, even though we're behind.
Gotta unmute.
We want to acknowledge that this is a new award for mentoring given in John's honor, and he was gracious enough not only to have been a mentor for all of these decades, but also to chair up a huge committee. In addition to that, he'll be presenting an award that we really had an early career award for a number of years. We decided that it made more sense to name it after somebody who was important in ISPP, and so it's now the Jim Sedanius Early Career Award. And then finally, I'd like to acknowledge the tremendous gift of Dave Rentzlock, who always felt that acknowledging dissertation work is really important, and so he made a huge gift to ISPP last year in order to endow the dissertation fellowship in perpetuity. And so as a former president and vice president and very always active member, we thank Dave Rentzlock. All right, I'll let you go ahead. John, thank you.
Thank you, Helena and Felicia. I do need to acknowledge the members of this committee. It was an incredibly diverse and effective committee, incredibly efficient and smart in its deliberations. You'll have to excuse me if I pronounce some names wrong because we communicated by email, not by voice. But the committee members included Patrizia Castellani from Italy, Chris Federico of the United States, Leah Figu of Greece, Rita Guerra, Portugal, Mikhail Shamir, Israel, Eva Walter, Germany, and Fatih Yuno, United Kingdom. The Jim Sidanius Early Career Award was a difficult one because we had so many good applicants. And we found that we had to offer the award to two of them because of their outstanding work. The first is Dr. Mark Brandt, who has been an amazingly productive scholar in the 8 years since earning his PhD. His work is methodologically diverse and adept, and he is intellectually curious and productive. He has become a top political psychologist of his generation. His work has been consequential and is highly cited, and his interests and contributions have been broad and theoretically important. Dr. Brandt's most recent work on belief system networks tries to modify how we study belief systems by focusing on the idea that belief systems are interconnections of attitudes and identities that can be modeled. His initial work on this idea has shown that political identities are central to belief systems, that belief systems can be replicable, and that conservatives' moral beliefs are more highly integrated than liberals' moral belief systems. He has recently turned to belief system simulations to test whether his network can account for existing phenomena in the literature. He has done this with considerable success. In sum, he has offered impressive and fresh contributions to the advancement of studies in core areas of political psychology, such as the psychological roots of ideology, moral reasoning, and their relationships with intergroup conflict and prejudice. Mark, do you want to say a few words?
Sure. Thank you very much to ISPP and to the committee and to my collaborators over the years and my advisors, both formal and otherwise, for this. I think those things all really come together to produce what I've been able to do over the years. It's not an individual thing, it's a team project. I'm just really humbled to receive this award, even more humbled after hearing you say those incredibly kind and overly generous things. But yeah, thank you everybody, and thanks for the award. Yeah, I think that's all I'll say for now, and I hope everybody has a great day.
The second winner is Dr. Noor Katili, who has been immensely productive. He has an elegant program of research in political psychology that is clearly theoretically ambitious, methodologically innovative, and topically important. He has an exceptional record of high-impact publications. His research contributions on dehumanization and related processes and behaviors constitute an important advance in studies on interpersonal and intergroup perception, on conflicts deriving from them, and on conflict resolution. For example, he created a direct measure of blatant dehumanization, leveraging the ascent of man image, which begins with an ape-like figure, and each successive figure becomes more physically and culturally evolved. Using this scale cross-nationally, he found that individuals reliably related outgroup members as less human in their own group. For the field of intergroup relations, this was a watershed study because it challenged the prevailing view that people in contemporary societies are unwilling to express blatant dehumanization. He then introduced the concept of meta-dehumanization, which occurs when one believes that another group holds dehumanizing attitudes about one's group. He found that being perceived as less than human by an outgroup leads to reciprocal dehumanization, creating a vicious cycle. Noor, would you like to say a few words?
Thank you very much, John, and thank you so much to the committee. I'm incredibly honored to have received this award. I'd like to thank ISPP, I'd like to thank all of my collaborators over the years. As Mark said, I think it takes a village to put this work together. In particular, I'm really grateful to the late Emile Bruneau, with whom I conducted much of the work that you mentioned on dehumanization, as well as my longtime collaborator, Arnold Ho and Jennifer Sheehy-Skeffington, and many members, as it were, of the Jim Sidanius Lab. In fact, I'm especially honored to receive the award in the inaugural year, after which it was named after Jim, who was an incredible intellectual influence on me and so many others, as I'm sure many ISPP members are aware. Jim unfortunately passed in the last couple of weeks, and it's been a difficult period. It's been immensely gratifying to know that he would have been very proud to learn of my winning this award, and I'm incredibly grateful to him and all the people that I've worked with over the years. Thank you.
Absolutely. The next award is the Nevitt Sanford Award. And again, we received a large number of exceptional nominations for this award, and we selected Mikhail Balowicz of the Faculty of Psychology, University of Warsaw, Poland, as the winner. Dr. Balowicz has been extraordinarily engaged in creating knowledge about the general application of psychological principles to intergroup relations and reconciliation in the aftermath of genocide and mass atrocities. With great theoretical and methodological rigor, his research on post-genocide reconciliation in the context of Turkish-Armenian, Polish-German, Polish-Jewish, Jewish-German, and Bosniak-Serb relations has produced knowledge that can be used to help restore positive intergroup relations between conflicted groups. Together with a colleague, he developed the concept of reconciliation based on moral exemplars. He has applied these principles to Poland in the context of Poland's increasingly nationalistic and restrictive views, creating the Center for Research on Prejudice at the University of Warsaw, a leading research center for research on intergroup relations and for monitoring human rights in Eastern Europe. He not only has an impressive record of scholarship, but he has brought political psychology into the public sphere in an increasingly authoritarian society. He has done so with great courage and resolve and at great personal risk. Mikhail, would you like to say a few words?
Yes. Thank you very much. I'm not sure if I'm still muted, or sure. Okay. All right. Thank you very much for this award, and I feel really honored to receive it. And as Noor and Mark said already, most of my research, as well as in their case, is collaborative work with many of the colleagues. Many of them are actually part of our ISPP family, which I consider to be more or less an academic family for me. So I'd like to mention firstly my collaborators from the Center for Research on Prejudice, and then Alexandria Cichocka from the UK, Roland Imhoff and Imo Furice from Germany, Johanna Polhart from the United States, Sabina Zahajic, Clancy from Sweden now, and many others with whom we've done work on reconciliation, intergroup relations, and anti-Semitism. I'm particularly honored to be selected for this year Nevitt Sanford Award because also of the person because of the personality of Nevitt Sanford and his own history. First of all, he created the first scale in political psychology to measure anti-Semitism, and I'm still continuing this kind of research. And also because of his contributions to authoritarian personality research, and much of my research is also devoted to this ideological explanation of prejudice today. And finally, maybe because Nevitt Sanford in 1940s has been dismissed from his professorship at the University of California, Berkeley. It was the dark times of McCarthy era, and he was fired by the president of the University of California, Robert Sproul. 10 years later, he was reinstated, and today I think that nobody remembers President Robert Sproul, and we all remember and still acknowledge the work of Nevis Sanford, which I think is a maybe optimistic message from this history, and particularly optimistic in times of our flow to democracies and populisms of today. Thank you very much again.
Absolutely, thank you. Next, I'd like to announce the winner of the Laswell Award. And again, the committee had a very difficult decision to make. We had an incredible number of exceptionally distinguished nominations for this award. After careful deliberation, we selected James Gibson of the Political Science Department at Washington University, St. Louis, as the winner. Dr. Gibson has made path-breaking influential contributions in a wide range of areas of relevance to political psychology, including institutional legitimacy, intergroup relations and conflict, truth and reconciliation, political tolerance, and social identity theory. With precise and in-depth analyses, his work has found broad recognition on an international scale. He is among the most highly cited political psychologists in the world. As an example, his Overcoming trilogy, a set of political psychology books addressing various aspects of South Africa's transition from apartheid, represents a broad, coherent, and cumulative explication. The first book focuses on the problem of political intolerance, the second on reconciliation, and the third on historical injustices. His work on institutional legitimacy, African Americans, and the US legal system, and multiple other topics puts him among the top scholars of political psychology in the world. Jim, do you have a few words?
I do.
Jim?
Thank you, John, and thank you to the committee. I'm extremely honored to join the list of giants in political psychology who have earlier won the Laswell Award. Three in particular stand out to me who have had a gigantic influence on my career from the beginning. The first is, of course, John Sullivan, the modern day father of research on political tolerance. There probably hasn't been a week in the last 40 years in which I've not thought about the work that John has produced and used it in my own research. I'm deeply indebted to John Sullivan for his leadership of the field and for everything he's given to political psychology. The second earlier award winner is Milt Lodge. Milt taught me just about everything I know about political psychology. He's been an invaluable friend, a mentor, a co-conspirator throughout my career, and I deeply appreciate his guidance. Finally, our brother Jim Sidanius. I first got to know Jim when we were at the Russell Sage Foundation. We both moved to New York on about 9/6/01. So we spent the year together at the Russell Sage Foundation. It was one of the most valuable years of my life because I got to know and love Jim. I think few people are as smart as him, and no one has a bigger heart than he has. And I'm sure I could say we will miss him greatly. So I'm thrilled to join the ranks of people like John Sullivan, Milt Lodge, and Jim Sidanius. Thank you very much.
Oh, thank you for the kind words, Jim, and congratulations. The final set of awards, and I say a set because we have two again, is the Sullivan Mentorship Award. The first winner is Dr. Kristen Monroe, who has made an indelible mark on the many students she has intensely mentored at the University of California, Irvine, in both political science and the Center for the Scientific Study of Ethics and Morality, a center which she founded in 2003. 6 of her mentees, including graduate students, postdoctoral students, and junior faculty, note that she has exhibited, quote, outstanding commitment and exceptional academic passion in creating a scholarly community and providing that community with space, her time, and outside financial support so that she could engage in advancing research so that those engaged in advancing research in political psychology could flourish, unquote. She has also mentored undergraduates and even high school students through the center's summer internship program. Her students cite Dr. Monroe's generosity and the care and respect she shows for her students, noting that her faith, compassion, and support facilitated their self-confidence, contributing both directly and indirectly to their career trajectory and successes. One intern notes that she, quote, embodies what she teaches, altruism. Her passion to foster moral courage and altruism has come to cultivate a strong sense of empathy in me that I never experienced before. Kristen? Kristen, are you here?
John, I don't think Kristen or Dave are online right now. I'm looking at the list.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, we'll move on then. Congratulations to Kristen. The second winner is Dr. David Sears, who has for several decades been an incredibly successful mentor of many generations of renowned scholars of political psychology. His students populate universities around the world, extending his research and creating their own path-breaking agendas. Over the decades and continuing to this day, he has co-authored voluminous, highly cited and influential works with many of his students. He mastered and integrated psychology and political science long before other scholars were able to do so, and he has long been a seminal scholar in the field. Fortunately for the field and for his students, Dr. Sears has also been an amazingly successful mentor. His academic dynasty is one of the most significant in the field of political psychology. Former students emphasize his passion for the intellectual fusion of psychology and political science, and his emphasis not only on theory, but also on real-world problems. They note his unique ability to hold and maintain exceptionally high standards. Dr. Sears has been able to astutely identify flaws in students' research, but he has always offered suggestions and solutions while never losing sight of his students' individual strengths. He ensured that they felt heard and valued. He has demonstrated the ability to mentor his students with patience, trust, and kindness. So Nick, David is not available either?
I don't see him online, unfortunately. It's still 6:45 in the morning for both Kristen and Dave, and that's maybe the reason.
Sure, exactly. Well, I was basically going to say also that there must be something about the climate in California that promotes mentoring, since they're both there at the time. Well, that ends the this committee's list of awardees, and Nick Valentino, one of David Sears' distinguished former students, will now present the Presidential Scholarship in Criminal Justice.
Thanks very much, John. And let me just say how honored I am to be on this call, this Zoom call with everyone, both the award winners and the presenters. And congratulations, John, on this named award for you. I know you're too modest to say anything about it, but not only for your students, but for all of those who you've had such a profound influence, even outside your mentoring. It makes perfect sense that this award would be named after you. And it's, of course, it makes me feel very warm inside that my mentor was one of the first recipients. And Kristen Monroe is, of course, a fantastic example of that as well. So thank you very much. And I just don't have a lot of time here. And actually, I think the award I'm about to give, also the recipient is not online, unfortunately. But as maybe many of you might recall, last year we were also in a virtual conference, and it was we were as president, I was thinking about a way to use some of the resources that ISPP provides to the president in a discretionary way we weren't together in Berlin as much as I would have loved to have been. And therefore, I decided that it would be great if we could have a committee to award that money to a young person who was doing work in an area that I thought would be, personally, and many of us think would be very important for ISPP to continue to grow in, which is the intersection of political psychology and criminal justice policy around the world. The committee consisted of Antoine Banks, Shayla Nunnally, Omar Wasso, and myself. So the scholarship, as I said, was this first time it's been awarded, and hopefully will be awarded in the future as well, was designed to catalyze work at the intersection of political psychology and criminal justice. The committee focused on younger scholars or scholarly teams and tried to reward work that was innovative and new, theoretically and empirically expansive, and which would have legs into the future with papers, not just ones that have been written, but to be written. And we received actually many excellent proposals from a variety of teams around the world working on the topic of race and criminal justice. It was a very diverse pool and really rewarding to read folks' plans for working in this area. There was a lot of work on dehumanization and racial domination, including by teams that are related to the folks on this call, and we're very, very impressed with that. But ultimately, we decided unanimously to select a project by Tyler Jimenez, who was a graduate student in the Department of Psychology at the University of Missouri. We were really excited by Jimenez's proposal for its groundbreaking nature on a topic pretty rarely studied, which is the causes and consequences of police militarization on college campuses. And there are a large number of papers we think that might jump out of Jimenez's work. We chose his proposal for three reasons. The puzzle is important, as I said. For example, evidence suggests racial prejudice is a big important factor which drives police militarization across the country. But if so, why are so many minority-serving institutions of higher education participating in programs of militarization on their campuses at such high rates, given the fraught history of racial injustice on campuses with regard to police? Second, methodologically speaking, we were impressed by the development of an original scale to measure support for police militarization in his prior work, and believe the scale might be of use to other scholars working on this same topic. It's a multi-method approach, and for that reason, we thought also it might be bringing in other scholars. So we also appreciated the breadth of his sampling procedure, drawing on HBCUs, especially the Hispanic serving and tribal institutions Jimenez is focusing on. So while I don't think he can be here to accept this award, we're just terribly excited by this work, and we hope that the stipend that we were able to provide could catalyze his work and make it grow and attract other collaborators. So even though you aren't here to hear it, congratulations, Tyler. And then I guess my job now is to reintroduce President Felicia Pratto for final comments.
Hi, thank you. Thank you. I need to thank again all of the awards committee members. They do their work with diligence, with anonymity, recognizing that it's sometimes difficult to weigh things that are to be evaluated on their own way, but that they have to, but that it serves as a beacon for seeing what new work and ideas and bravery, and as we've seen with Mihai and many other presentations, is done in their work. So I'd like to thank the awards committee members again, and also I'd like to thank our two program co-chairs. When I think of it, they are people who, you know, arguably could deserve every award we have, because they are doing service, they are mentoring people with how to put together panels and papers, they are
very broad in their intellectual scope while doing their own work. They are quite aware of a big range of the kinds of work that are being done, qualitative, quantitative, focused from indigenous points of view, focused from electoral politics, focused from theory, and nonetheless they both were able to put together a program and group the papers in such a way that each of the panels is coherent, and it doesn't just have people from the same time zone, which is a particular challenge of the virtual conference. It's being held in 3 time zones, but we didn't want people to just only address people living within their time zone. So they had a tremendous job to sort the papers in thematic ways, but that nonetheless sort of mix this all up so we would have the real international contact that we care about in our society. So I thank Allison and Carla from the bottom of my heart. I also would like to acknowledge once again John Sullivan's new award, and John in particular as a fantastic example of somebody who literally, when Chris Federico and others were proposing to the governing council that we name a new award after John, half the room burst into tears of joy and pride and sentimentality. And I don't think you probably were told that before, John, for the look on your face, but it really is true that there was just a deep level of, from the bottom of people's hearts, about thinking how nice it would be to have an award to honor you, and the fact that you've been willing to continue to serve instead of just to rest on your laurels is phenomenal. True to character, but phenomenal. And then finally, I want to thank our central office staff, to Severin Bennett, who's our executive director, and Heather Schlabach, who's the executive administrator. Seb and Heather use the smiles you see there all the time in dealing with big issues and little with respect to ISPP and with respect to the conference in particular. And I know that they've been working pretty much nonstop from the beginning of May, outside of their normal hours. I mean, they've been working in order to make sure that we had a good conference, that things went smoothly, that everybody who registered needed to be registered. In fact, we found on the eve, literally on the eve of the conference, that somebody who had just been released from hospital hadn't been able to register because the person was in hospital, and they've got the person registered because the person said, "I never miss ISPP. I'd hate for this to be a reason." So that's just one little example about how they go above and beyond the call of duty, and to make sure that we're all able to communicate with each other and be together as much as we can. So we all thank them as well. And finally, let me offer congratulations on behalf of everybody again to all of our award winners. The work that you've done, whether you're just starting out or whether you've been at it for a while, the work that you've done clearly inspired some other really smart and knowledgeable people, and you have every reason to be very proud. So I hope with your friends and family that you're able to celebrate, and I offer the chance to toast you and next year's award winners, hopefully in person in Athens next year. So hold me to that. I look forward to seeing everybody then. And thank you for the audience for coming and honoring people. I'm sure they'd appreciate hearing from you.
Thank you, everyone.
Next.